NFS Undercover. There have been many NFS games for mobile devices. Among them, you can find 2D versions, more solid J2ME variations, and more intelligent projects like Shift and Hot Pursuit on Android OS. Undercover on mobile devices is remembered for having several versions, for J2ME, for Symbian, and for iOS. I will describe these in more detail. J2ME Need for Speed Undercover on J2ME is remembered for having both 2D and 3D versions. If that is the right way to put it. It would be more correct to call them variations with worse and better graphics. By the way, in the author's opinion, the games also have different engines. NFS Undercover is an arcade game by genre. Otherwise, it can be called a racing arcade or an arcade simulator. The player will play the role of an undercover police officer who needs to complete racing missions in order to gain a reputation in a criminal syndicate. The concept of the 2D and 3D versions of the game is similar. The soundtrack is at least partially the same. Undercover's graphics are simpler, but unfortunately they don't shine with bright colors. The author was reminded of the ones you can see in old racing games on 8 and 16-bit consoles. The author liked the 3D variations so much that you could say completely. These parts of NFS for J2ME went down in history. The same Shift, Hot Pursuit and the Run are very close in format. Symbian. The Symbian version is very similar to the advanced Undercover for J2ME. In some moments it seemed worse than the latter. In theory, such a variation should look better. In practice, the graphics are not very sharp. I note that the year of release of NFS Undercover is 2008. Specific OS for running the Symbian version are from 9.1 to 9.3. In other words, those that can be found on smartphones without a touch screen. The additional name of the platform is S60v3. Devices on S60v3 could not boast of powerful hardware. I think that is why there are no distinctive changes in Undercover, which I am reviewing. Compared to J2ME, of course. I will provide separate screenshots so that you have an idea of what the variations differ in appearance. Of what catches your eye when you start the game, you can note the soundtrack. The melodies are similar to NFS for Java and too much. The appearance of the screensavers also. However, a crack for this did not appear. And Need for Speed Undercover for a push-button phone, or rather a smartphone. I launched it right here. Why exactly? Because there is no version for Nokia touchscreen smartphones. As you understand, Symbian. It simply does not exist officially, so you will have to make do with the version for Java. iOS or webOS Need for Speed Undercover for Android, alas, was not released. But on iOS, there is one. In appearance and gameplay, this NFS is already very different from the one I paid attention to before. If you look for the closest game for Nokia touchscreens with Symbian, then this is Need for Speed Shift. The problem is that Shift was released later than Undercover, so mentioning the game here from a certain point of view is not very logical. Surprisingly, by the way, NFS Undercover was also released on webOS. The Palm manufacturer's platform is more specific. In the video, I demonstrate exactly this variation of NFS. The launch is implemented on the Nokia N900 smartphone. The OS here, as you understand, is not webOS. The version is still the one I mentioned earlier. From what I remember, decent graphics and accelerometer control. I'll look ahead and show screenshots of Undercover compared to Shift and Hot Pursuit. PC. I think it's clear that NFS Undercover is not exclusive to mobile platforms. You can find such a game on PC as well. For some reason, the desktop Undercover did not receive the best reviews from players. This part looked too arcade-like in comparison with previous NFS on PC as well. The author doesn't think it's worth continuing the video further because it's about mobile variations of such NFS. We'll meet in the next videos.